So I'll start by welcoming everyone. My name's Heather Knox, and I usually host the GAB chats along with Cheryl. But today is not really a GAB chat. Today is a book launch. Then we're super excited to have Sarah here to tell us all about the new book, Second Chances, which she's been working. Well, many of you have been working really hard at. And I'm going to pass it over to Sarah, and then she'll let me know when she needs me.
Yeah, welcome. I guess the first thing I do is report on the success of getting the book rolled out. We launched on November 15th. We've sold over 500 copies to co-authors, which is wonderful. There's 56 of you, so that means a lot of you have invested in, multiple copies to whether you're giving them as gifts or using them in your classes. Whatever your purposes are with those, I'm delighted that they're in your hands and moving from there out into the world. It's one of the best ways that we have really for spreading the word about what guided autobiography is. If you read a few of the stories and then read, the foreword or the introduction or the afterword, you really get a snapshot of what it is that we're accomplishing when we share our stories with each other, the core of the GAB methodology, the GAB experience. The retail sales have begun. We've sold a few hundred copies. Of course, we need to do more than that to break even and then begin to have it generate some income for the Behrens Center. So everything you can do to encourage sales is greatly appreciated. Sharing the social media graphics on if you happen to be a person who uses Facebook or Instagram or any of those things. Don't just mention it once every week or so. Think about saying something about the book and using I've got a new Christmas graphic mixed into the social media graphics. That, if you're in the Christmas holiday spirit, the zip with the social media graphics in it is in the chat. You can download it from there and use it. That's how I came to use it as a backdrop for my screen there. Let's see, what else do I have to say about
Um,
that?
Sarah, I think you actually have to send it again because people that come in later don't see the previous chat.
Oh, well,
What?
that's what?
How
Yeah.
could that be? I
I don't see anything in there, and I've noticed that before.
So it's wherever you come in the meeting, that's the first thing you see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, here it comes again.
Thanks.
And if you want to have some fun with Zoom, you can put one up for your backdrop, as I did. Um, yeah, yeah, that's
I just
the
want, let me just say one thing while you're talking, Sarah. You mentioned that yes, go in and say something on social media again, even if you said it once. Every time I pick up this book, I find a different story that grabs me. So it's really not
Mhm.
difficult to find something to say. It's not like you're repeating yourself, like, what a great book. Say, I just read this story that was about, somebody overcoming, a disastrous illness or somebody, that was hurt and then came through it. I mean, it's something different each story you read, so it's not hard to come up with a different message to
Yeah,
post.
that's a really good point, Cheryl. You can sort of live share your reading
Right,
experience as you go through it.
right.
It's, but yeah, yeah. I really enjoy the fact that you can read these stories in just a short amount of time. I like to say you can read them while you make a cup of coffee, because they're all that short, under 1,000 words, and it makes it a very easy to consume book and easy to share as a reading experience. It's a nice thing to bring along if you're visiting someone who's a shut-in or older person who might enjoy these. Just make a habit of reading a story together when you visit your friends.
Which
Um,
reminds me, one of the tips you had was that I happen to live in a 55 plus community. And even though there's 18,000 people here in my little building, I think there's, I don't know, 15 units or something. And so
mhm.
I give a copy to the building, and have them pass it around because all of them can benefit from it. I mean, and so they're saying, oh, wow, I didn't know you did this and I didn't know you did that. And it's just a nice way to get to know your neighbors. So if you have a, friendly neighbor group or if you have I don't know, a church group or anybody that you meet. I hadn't thought of that until you said that, instead of giving a
Hmm.
book to each person, this is a
Yeah.
collective and they can share that book because, you know, if I didn't have my background blurred, you'd see that I'm books crawling all over me. If there's an earthquake here in Southern California, I'll be crushed by
We'll
books.
find you under the
Right.
books.
So, to be able to share a book with somebody is a wonderful idea for me.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do next is we have three featured speakers chosen kind of at random, but mostly because in the evaluation process, each of these authors' stories ranked quite highly. Um, Constanza Duran, Tony Knopf, and Amanda Smith will each read part of their essays, just in interest of time. I'm not going to read the whole, but maybe to whet your appetite to buy a copy of the book if you
Mm.
don't have one, so you can finish hearing their stories. And then we're going to do a lightning author spotlight where we'll just sort of pick some of you who are authors at random. That's why it's good for you to put author after your name if you are an author in the book, and ask you a little bit about a glimpse into your writing process, your journey of submitting and being accepted into this collection. Are we ready to go to the readings? Heather, Cheryl, got anything else you want to say?
No, let's start it. Yeah.
Looking forward to
Okay.
it.
So I think I'm going to call on Amanda first, then Tony, then Constanza.
Okay, thank you. I'm
Welcome.
I'm really
And
honored.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. Um, so I'm going to skip the beginning of my story and read the latter part of it. So this starts off right after my husband has died of cancer. I lost him 15 years ago
Mm.
when he was 46. Who was
Mm,
I now? I didn't know. My husband had been larger than life, charismatic and always the life of the party. I had spent 2 decades orbiting his star, basking in his glow, but by myself, I was introverted and insecure. What I did know instinctively was that I needed a move. I craved a fresh start in a new place. It didn't take long to decide what that place would be. San Diego, 2 hours south of where I lived. The beautiful beach city of San Diego, where we had gone as newlyweds on weekend getaways and had taken our kids on vacation when they were little. And most important, San Diego, where my oldest daughter was already living and attending UCSD. I packed up, sold the house, and moved to La Jolla, where I rented a condo right next to campus and less than a mile away from the ocean.
Mm.
And the ocean called to me from the very beginning. My first day there, I took a break from unpacking and made the short trip down the hill to La Jolla Shores Beach. I pulled into the parking lot and found myself at a picture-perfect California beach, almost too pretty to believe. My eyes drank in the beautiful blue-gray water and white-capped waves, the wide expanse of sand lined with a long row of tall palm trees next to a grassy picnic area. It was autumn, past the tourist season, but still warm and sunny enough that locals and college kids were out enjoying the day. I decided to go for a beach walk. As my shoes hit the sand and the briny ocean breeze hit my face, I knew this was exactly where I needed to be. I started walking north on the beach, crossing under the sturdy Scripps Pier in half a mile, and then rounding a bend where I found myself at some rocky tide pools. I could see more empty beach stretching far ahead to the north, and I knew that then what my new pastime would be, beach walking. After that, I started hitting the beach several times a week, going a little further each time. Past the tide pools was a stretch of boulders, which were tricky to cross, so not a lot of people went that far. But just beyond was a gorgeous stretch of sand next to high looming cliffs, where I would often find myself the only person as far as the eye could see.
Mm.
The solitude was freeing. On this deserted stretch, I allowed my grief and anger to flow through me into my sweat and my tears. The drumbeat of my feet on the packed sand and the roar of the waves filled my ears and eased away my anxiety. I had feared loneliness, but here I did not feel lonely. I loved watching the shorebirds while I walked, gulls and pelicans soaring above, and flocks of little sandpipers, willets, and long-beaked whimbrels scurrying around on the sand. I trudged over funky-smelling piles of kelp and across beds of tiny sea snails. A few lucky times I saw dolphins leaping through the waves just offshore. I watched myriad sunsets that sometimes turned the wet sand into a lake of gold that took my breath away with its beauty. It was magical, but tinged with a bittersweet melancholy. Up until that point in my life, I had battled against my introverted nature, believing it was a character flaw. I had forced myself to be what I thought others wanted me to be. But on the beach, I embraced my solitude and the peace that came with it. With every walk, I could feel myself getting stronger, both physically and emotionally. The rawness of my grief was slowly but surely being soothed away, and I started to believe that I was going to be okay on my own. After a year and a half of beach walking, I left the La Jolla rental, a much more confident woman, and moved to the more affordable mid-city area of San Diego, ready for my second chance in life. There's a saying that the cure for almost anything is salt water, in the form of sweat, tears, or the sea. I discovered that all three at once can be close to miraculous.
Oh, wow.
That was
Well, that was lovely.
stunning. Stunning.
Thank you.
Did
That
we
was
did we say that the title is Saltwater Cure? I'm not
Saltwater
sure.
cure.
Okay.
Yes, I should have said
Yeah.
that first.
that's a great play on saltwater taffy too. That was beautiful, Amanda.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Let me ask you,
Really.
who was your GAB instructor?
Barbara Smith.
Oh my gosh, and here
Oh,
she is.
Barbara.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That
Are
was
you related?
No. I know it's an unusual last name, but
yeah.
Yeah,
In
that was
in spirit we are.
Yeah, in
yes, for
spirit.
sure.
Beautiful, just beautiful, Amanda.
so
That was
touching.
That was
Wow.
one of my personal favorites because I think fear of the grief that lies in my
yeah.
future, I have
Mm.
loved ones. When I lose them, how will I cope? I felt like I received such a message from you that we can survive loss.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you writing that.
Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it means you must have stayed in San Diego because I happen to know that's where Barbara is.
I'm still here. I don't think I'm ever leaving either. It's a great place.
Oh,
How long ago did you take cab with Barbara?
About when was it, Barbara? It's been a few years now.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years.
I would say three, probably
Three.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but the group that I took the class with Barbara, we have stayed together,
Oh
and
my
we
gosh.
Oh,
still write and meet monthly, and it's just been such a joy.
wow. That's great.
Yeah, and two of my group mates are also in the book, although I don't see them here today.
Well, that's
oh,
exciting for you.
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to say, when I read your story, Amanda, I was so moved, and it inspired me to take those kinds of walks that you describe in the book, not just because of the beauty, but also because of the comfort and
Yeah.
just you know, the soothing nature of
hmm
the way you describe the sea, and just the beauty around you. You describe it so vividly. Um, Amanda's just an amazing writer. So this is
No kidding.
one
Thank you.
sample, very inspiring. So thank you. So
Yeah,
glad.
thank you,
Barbara.
So
Amanda.
let me probe a little bit further then. Are you an author to begin with, or is this something that came about because of Gab?
This came about because of Gab. I've never,
See?
yeah, this is new to me. I mean, I've
See?
always loved reading and writing. I used to really enjoy writing stories when I was a kid, you
Right.
know. And then I became an adult and life got busy and you don't write. And then I discovered Gab and my love of writing again, and
Oh,
here I am.
How
no,
many
that
how
is
many two-pagers have you done, Amanda?
Probably 50 or 60 by now, I'd say.
Good for you.
wow.
That's
I'm
great.
also starting to compile a chronological narrative now.
Ah,
I'm starting to put my stories into order and writing transitions between them in the hopes of having a full memoir
good for you.
one day.
Fantastic.
It's
It's
just
so
like,
interesting.
That's so
Yeah,
inspiring.
it
thank you.
certainly
Yeah.
is.
My group mates are also really very inspiring and supportive, and couldn't do it without them.
And I hope they're
Yeah.
all buying a copy of the book, just so
They
you
have,
get to
yes.
read. Good.
Oh, fantastic. Any other questions for Amanda before we move
Or
on?
comments? Anybody?
Comments?
Well, I'm just going to say this is the first time I've been involved in a book launch because I'm a new GAB instructor. Greg, my husband Greg and I teach, and we've just finished our fifth classes, and I'm excited to think about inviting our students to submit as
Yeah,
well. And I'm sure Barbara's like a proud mama right now,
yeah,
with you sharing your story like that, because that's how I'd feel. So
yeah.
it's really exciting, Amanda and Barbara.
Right,
And I would
right.
just like to say, Amanda has uh, recommended at least one or maybe others to take the GAB class, and I'm really grateful for that. And it just, it's just uh, an indicator of the power
Oh,
of
yeah.
storytelling and
Mhm.
sharing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
thank
Yeah, I know that pride you have as an instructor when your students get accepted into the collection. I have several, three
And
students in this year's book and have had students in the previous couple of years. Let us go on to Tony Knopf, who will be followed by Constanza from our Spanish author uh, cohort. Tony, take it away.
Okay. Um, all right. I come by storytelling quite honestly. Uh, my mother was actually a professional storyteller when she was very young in the 1930s. Uh, so I come by it honestly. And I do have one book out. It's called The Eternal Life of Stuff. Um, and you can get it on Amazon. Um, uh, and I also have a story in the Homeward um,
Mm.
edition, the previous edition, and I was thrilled. I'm thrilled all the time from just from writing. But let me get to this. What I did was um, I kind of skipped around with the paragraphs. In other words, I cut paragraphs out. But
To make the abridged version. Yes,
right.
thank
Well,
you.
well, somebody said I should read part of it. Okay, so it's called If You Don't Tell It Right the First Time. I walked into the newsroom of the Express Times of Easton, Pennsylvania, one fateful day in 1997 to find a message on my desk. It was from my editor, Will Shying. He was sending me to cover an uninspiring story that I thought was too often the stale bread and rancid butter of local newspapers. A baby is born just after midnight in the new year. An aging veteran is turning 100. A Boy Scout has completed a community project. Somebody, somewhere, is being honored for something. Cripes, Will, I said, do I really have to do this? Yes, and you'd better hurry because the ceremony will start in less than an hour. Despite Will's insistence that I get moving, the story wasn't worth spending that much energy. I even stopped for a cup of coffee and to look over the assignment sheet. It seemed like a woman was about to be showered with platitudes and honored with a plaque on a park bench. There would be speeches, a band, and a tribe of admirers to support her, and she would be the featured speaker. I had a I had a talent for spinning the smallest bit of hay into a thread of gold, turning a nothing story into something. Sometimes this gift was also a curse, because I ended up on the receiving end of too many nothing stories. As I drove, I muttered, "Not everybody has a story worth telling, Will." I arrived 10 minutes late. The woman had already started reading from a script in her hands. The words were unremarkable, but I dutifully jotted down a few key phrases. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity to serve my community. I can only hope that those who sit on this bench in the future will remember it as theirs, not mine. And it droned on and on and on. Late that night, the next edition of the paper went to print, and by 6 a.m., it was dropped on the doorsteps of homes throughout our circulation area. The next morning, on my day off, my phone rang. It was early, but I answered anyway. Hello, I mumbled into the receiver. Tony, it's Jim. I instantly woke up, fully alert. Why was Jim Deegan, Will's boss, calling me on my day off? What's up? I asked. Why are you calling me at this hour? Tony, because you ruined my day, I figured I would ruin yours. What? I said, what do you mean? That story you wrote yesterday, the one where you quote the woman speaking at the ceremony? Yes, I said, wondering where this was going. She died 2 hours before the ceremony. I tried to explain that I arrived late and I assumed she was the one being honored, but I didn't get beyond the words, I arrived late. He stopped me cold, saying, Tony, get in here. You're going to call everyone I can think of and apologize. Then you're going to write a complete story about her, and then we'll discuss whether you'll keep working here or not. Do you understand? When it was all over and the follow-up story was published, Will asked me, what have you learned from all this, Tony? I sensed that my future might very well hang on my answer. After careful consideration, I said, Will, I forgot that every one of us has an important story to tell. It's my job to put the effort into making it a good story. I also have to pay attention and always be on time. There you go. There's more. You can read it. Buy the book.
Yeah, that one just took my breath away when I read it. The embarrassment, the humiliation you must have felt. It just
incredible.
It's everybody's worst day at work.
What a great takeaway. Everybody has a story to tell.
Mhm.
Everybody's story is important. I think that's what guided autobiography is based on, that everybody, there's, Jim Beeren always used to say, there's never been another you, and nobody can tell the stories like you can. So Tony, that was
Yeah.
great. And what a important lesson to learn.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Now, Tony, are you an instructor or a student?
Student.
I'm a student. Well, actually, I'm in Jerry Waxler's memoir.
Memoir.
Actually,
Oh,
I'm in three of them with him.
okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I would be classified other
Yeah.
than
Who was your GAB instructor when you took the workshop? Was it
uh,
Jerry or?
no, I didn't actually take the workshop.
Oh, okay.
Well, you
Yeah,
took a GAB class. You
but
probably
I'd
did it
like
with Jerry
to.
then.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
All right. Yeah, you're a writer and you come
That's
from
right.
writers. This is your world, your people.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody else have a comment for Jerry? For Tony?
Tony.
Got Jerry on my mind now.
It was a
Yeah.
powerful story.
That's Sylvia up in Poulsbo, Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all the way on the other side of the coast, on the other coast in
Wow.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
also 7:30. So
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
Okay. Well, thank you for submitting your story, Tony, and for coming to our party tonight. Let's
Yeah.
hear from Constanza.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Can I add
Constanza.
can I
Sure.
add one more thing?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Tony.
I just you didn't ask me if I have anything in the mill, which I do. I've been working on my memoir of my 20 years in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right now, if it would be published in book form, I figured out it would be close to 850 pages. So I have some serious editing to do.
well, I'm glad
Maybe.
you're working with Jerry because
Yeah.
Yes,
he'll be a
indeed.
good guide to you through that
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Tony. Okay, Constanza.
Okay. So hi, I'm Constanza Duran. I live actually in Canada,
Uh-huh.
in a city called Hamilton, in Ontario, near Toronto. So this is a letter to the story is called Letter to My Musician Brother. And I will read the first half, I think, or pretty much the first half.
Okay.
So, dear brother, here in Canada, the weather has been harsh this year. Sometimes with these low and extreme temperatures, besides the heavy snowfall in the streets, it's difficult to walk or drive the car. Everything is covered with snow. Being somewhat isolated by the weather has made me think and reflect a lot upon our lives. I recall our family from those years, our father, mother, our 60 siblings, and the nieces and nephews who came into our lives in the late 60s and early 70s. I only think about the barbecues and I often think about the barbecues and family gatherings we shared almost every Sunday at Asensio Zavala's house in Santiago. I also think about the coup d'etat our country suffered. I've never told you about what happened when I entered your bedroom. It was a few days after the September 11, 1973 coup. So many years have passed now, and some things will never be forgotten. They remain somewhere in our secret memories. I believe that when our wounds have healed, we can revisit those painful moments and share them. But the truth is that it still hurts, even though all these years have passed. During that time, I don't recall exactly when we left the house because it was too dangerous to stay. We knew that at any moment, the authorities would raid us and take us to jail. We packed a few things and sought refuge with friends. Mom went to stay with her friend Chela. Fernando, I can't remember where he went, and I stayed with Anita's house. I stayed at Anita's house. We were so scared. We feared for our lives, and it was no wonder. We listened to the radio and saw on television how soldiers were destroying everything, beating people and killing them. We returned home a few days later after the helpful neighbor told us that our house had indeed been raided. Remember those beautiful windows overlooking the street? Well, they were all turned into broken glass, scattered across the front garden and inside the dining room. Soldiers forced their way in, violently smashing our huge windows. Of course, the honeysuckle and bougainvillea were destroyed. They smashed the front door too. When our mother got home and saw the destruction, she turned pale and her hands trembled uncontrollably. She got no farther than the hallway. Sitting down in the chair next to the telephone, she said, "My daughter, go look around the house. I can't go on." So that's my
Ooh.
piece.
Well, give us just a hint of where it goes from there, please.
From there, it goes that the daughter, who is Constanza, went into the house and looked into every space in the house, which looked, a little disorganized, but okay. I mean, within expected. But when I entered his bedroom, it was a disaster.
Mm.
And my brother was, as the title says, is a musician who was not in Chile at the time of the coup. He was fortunately in Italy at that point with his musical group. So,
Oh, okay.
so
Thank you.
that's why his life was, he was saved.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting to be on the review committee. That's the first time we've had one come in that was written as a letter to someone that had this special form to it.
Mhm.
And there was some discussion about like do we do that? Do we accept Latin? Well, typographically, how would that look on the page? It challenged us a little bit, and I'm so glad that we accepted it. But that's just the technical side of it. I want to say more importantly how it affected me to read this because of the authoritarian angle, the coup d'etat. These things are all too real, it seems now, and several of the submissions from the Spanish language countries also had that kind of forced dislocation crisis aspect to them, and it was very moving in a very sad way, really. But yet there was a very hopeful, kind note in your essay that made it a winner.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you. Yeah, I know that it was a little strange to write a story as a letter, but I said, why not?
Exactly.
It's a
took
narrative.
A chance
it's a narrative made into a letter, which, tells the story anyways that I wanted to tell.
There's a name for that in writing craft. It's called the hermit crab essay, because it's a thing that hides in the form of another thing. It's a story living in the shell of a letter.
Oh, right.
That. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So Constanza, who was your guided autobiography instructor? And I'm assuming then you took it in Spanish.
We took it in Spanish. The story is originally written in. No, actually, the story originally was written in English, and then I translated it into Spanish. But in the GAB, it was presented in Spanish, of course, and then translated into, because this is a new sort of like, I've been working on this story, it progresses, right? Like you work on, you edit, and et cetera, et cetera. But we worked with Camila Reimers.
Raise your hand, Camila.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's been great working with Camila and
Alicia.
Yes, it's been great working with them. I feel really open in terms of that. I feel that with them, the creativity flows, and it's not about how great you write, but it's about how well you can express your creativity. And that I love about that. And we still meet every so often. We haven't been really like, we set dates to meet. Not always it happens, but it's been a great process to have this venue. It's been fantastic. I love it, actually. I loved being part of the GAB workshop.
Camila, do you want to say anything? Because that's part of the GAB process, is creating that safe space where you can grow. Go ahead.
Yes, the first thing that I would like to say is thank you to the Muren Center for giving us the opportunity to have 5 essays written in Spanish. This was like a wonderful experience, and I'm so thankful, because it was a lot of work for you.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And thank you for your help on that committee.
We had the great Spanish teachers helping out with that. So
yeah. But Sarah, you work so hard on this, so I have no words to say thank you. And the other thing is that when Constanza says, letter to my musician, to the brother, she did not mention that her brother is belongs to one of the most important music groups in Chile. If not the most important historically.
So he remained in Chile. So he's still there then, Constanza.
So he lived in Italy at the time of the coup. The group Inti Illimani.
It's Inti Illimani.
Yes. Yeah. So they toured everywhere. They toured in the United States quite a bit in the 80s and 90s. So at the time of the coup in 1973, they were in a tour in Europe, and the coup, they happened to be in Italy when the coup happened, and the Italian government gave them asylum right away. you stay here, you're not going to go. It was dangerous for them to go.
Yeah.
It would have been maybe similar to what happened to Victor Jara and other musicians. I don't know if you know the story of Victor Jara, who was a musician who was murdered by the dictatorship at the
Dear
time.
me.
So they lived in exile for about 17 years in Italy.
Italy,
That
yeah.
was their
I see.
home, the home
What a
country.
fascinating life story. I hope he
Mhm.
starts writing about his life.
I think he wants to write about his life as a musician.
I hope you
I think
encourage
he
him.
has
Yeah.
tried to start
Tell
his
him to reach out
stories,
to
but
Camila.
We have to get
You
him in the
know?
Take the
band.
course.
Right.
Right.
Get him in there.
Now,
Yeah.
I have a question for Camila. Is Veronica also in that group with Constanza?
No, she's
Oh,
from
okay.
another group. She's from another,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Do you want
I
to
just
just
want to
mention
tell you,
quickly about the article?
oh yeah, I want to tell you that Veronica, is one of the 5 people that were accepted into the anthology, and she has promoted this book so much. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, I had an interview with 2 important people, publishers in Mexico, and they are advertising this all over Mexico. In February, we'll have another presentation in the Mexican embassy here in Ottawa. And today she sent me an article written in Spanish about the anthology and about her work, but mostly about the Viren Center and the work that the Viren Center does.
Wow.
So that was today, and I sent to Sarah the article, but it is in Spanish and it's PDF, so I have to work around to send you the translation because it's in Spanish so far, but I got it today. You have the translation soon.
That'd be
I will
great.
post that PDF to the forum too, so they share it with people. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that is our featured reader portion. And now we go to the lightning author spotlight. Just if any of you who are authors in the book would like to give us a little glimpse into your writing process and what this experience has been for you. And I'm just going to call on somebody with author by their name, and then you get to pick the next person. And I pick Sylvia Campbell.
Oh my. Well, I always say I write better than I speak because I think you can take your time. So what, the process, huh?
Yeah,
Well,
just
with a teacher like Heidi Thorson, you've got a lot of help to begin with. I guess I think I've always liked writing, but the hardest thing for me was to open up and do it. I call it, I feel like I'm having open heart surgery. And
oh, what a phrase.
yeah, and so working through with Heidi, um, I was able to get my words on paper and out my mouth, which was hard. I I guess my process is that I kind of think about it. You know, I don't know. You have to step back, and I haven't thought too much about my process. I did teach English for a while, and I found while I was teaching I could not write. I mean, they just didn't go together. It was too involved. But also, I thought I could write good academic essays, but when it came to writing personal essays, even though I'd always wanted to do it, it was very hard to open up and face what you were feeling. So the courses I took with Heidi, three different ones, and then there wasn't another one. I guess I could have if there'd been another one, I'd have gone to a fourth. But that really helped me to move from my head, what I say, from my head to my heart. And I sort of feel you read with your head, you write with your heart. And trying to put that into practice was hard. Other than that, the process is, I'm guessing well, maybe not what everybody does. I learned to just write what I thought I wanted to say and not try to be concerned about format and coherence and all the things you teach in formal writing, to forget that and just do it kind of my way. And then after you kind of stumble through and get it all on paper, go back and put it all together. So
Thank you.
That's because you were an English teacher, Sylvia. You had that little critic sitting there on your shoulder watching
all the
over you.
time.
Yeah, all the time. You know, I just now figured out that you have two names because I kept looking at the book and I'm going, Sylvia Campbell. I don't see a Sylvia. I'm looking now. It says Sylvia Campbelco. So
I've got
what's your real name?
my married name is Campbell. I think if I ever try to write and publish anything again, I have not been interested in publishing, I would use my maiden name, but I just liked Campbelco because it had a Slavic touch to it, and my background, my ethnic background is Ukrainian.
So is Campbelco your maiden name, or did you just
No, I
make up
just
the
made
name?
that up. I thought
Oh my gosh.
it was close to Campbell, but I made it into a Slavic. My
Now,
Slavic
now the
soul
secret
said,
is out.
now I remember, Sarah, there was one person. Do we have an anonymous, or do we have somebody with a bogus name as an author? Now I get it.
well, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
see?
it does. You're just among us chickens here. Your
Yeah.
secret hasn't
You can do
leaked
what
out
you
into the
want.
world.
That's
So
fascinating.
thank you, Sylvia. Pick somebody else with author by their name to
Oh,
talk
let's
about
see.
their process.
My eye is falling on right below me, Sherry Coleman.
Oh,
No,
and
she's
she's
not.
not an author. But
I
can
did
I
not
jump?
write,
Oh,
but
I'm
thank you.
sorry. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Oh, I've got to study my screen here. Author, Janet Manders.
Okay.
Okay, hi. I am one of Sarah White's students from
Oh,
Wisconsin, and I took a class with Sarah that wasn't GAB, and then followed up that class with GAB. And when I took my first class with Sarah, I was recently retired, always interested in writing, and learned so much about the process of writing from Sarah, and was fortunate enough to connect with 4 other women who were also in the class. And we get to together once a week at the library and read to each other what we wrote. And I've just gotten so much help from them with the process of writing. And lately we've been more social than reading and writing, which is okay too. But I wrote the story that's in the anthology in the class with Sarah, took it to my little writing group, got feedback from them, changed it a little bit. And that was kind of the process, to get lots of feedback from people and make changes to make it a stronger story. So I really, really enjoy working with other authors.
That's such a key point, how useful at a certain point in the writing process, getting feedback from other people is. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. We just celebrated Janet in our community last week with our own little book launch party at my monthly first Monday, first person meetup. Janet, you want to, any questions for Janet?
I'll just also share the people that I've given the book to as a gift have really, really enjoyed it. They've had so many positive comments about stories in the book, and I've only made the time to read a handful of them, but I just want to know the people better who wrote them, because there's stories that touch your heart, and I enjoy the little bio at the end of each story, but it's like, boy, I want to know more about them. So tonight's a really fun experience to meet some
Yeah,
of the.
glad
So
that you're
Janet,
here.
do you think you would have written the story had it not been for the Gab and Sarah and the class? Is it something that you would have done on your own?
Um, I don't think it's something that I would have done well. When I took my first class with Sarah, I had in the back of my mind to write something, and quickly learned I had a lot of learning to do. So yeah, I don't know if I would have actually ever submitted anything
Yeah.
anywhere without the class.
That brings up a good point because all of you that take the classes, by writing yourself, you're becoming a better writer. And of course, you're getting feedback that's giving you the self-confidence to keep going. And then, when you ask for not criticism, but help with a story, like when you submit to the anthology, which, Sarah and the other authors who have the other GAB instructors who have stepped in and done that, it's a beautiful way to do the finishing touches to make it really sing. But now you have to think about 2026.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Feedback's critical. Let's see who else has the name author.
Yeah, let's do just one more, and then we'll move on to the next portion of the program. So,
Well, then
who
I
are you
would
going to
like.
pick?
Kathleen Watkins has author after her name.
Great, Kathleen. Step
Yes,
on up to the
hello.
podium.
Yes, I went through the GAB workshop in 2021, and it was Lee and what's the other lady's name?
Lily.
Lily.
Yeah, Lee and Lily. They were my instructors, and first of all, when I was just surfing one day on the internet and I ran up on GAB on guided autobiography classes, it just really jumped off the page to me because I've always been just so taken with stories and especially autobiographies. So I immediately tried to sign up for the class. I had to wait, I think, a couple of months, but I just thoroughly enjoyed the class. And afterwards, I did classes. I
So
did them
you did the
online.
instructor training. This was an
Yeah, the
instructor training.
instructor training, right? Yeah, the instructor training I did.
Yeah.
And then I was so excited, I immediately started conducting classes online. I probably did that for a couple of years after that, and it went very well. And I also did a group at this church. I put an article in the paper, and the pastor really liked it, and he wanted me to come over and work with his people. And that was very interesting because they really just wanted to talk, oral. Not so much. Yeah, that's what happened there. But then it just evolved.
Well, now tell us about your experience writing for the prompt of second stanzas. Yeah, what was your process on this story?
Okay.
Nice to have that background about you, though. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. Okay, so getting the email from GAB, I saw it, I opened it, and it just happened to be a week before the deadline.
Oh no.
Oh.
And when I saw the theme, Second Chance, I said, oh, I can do this. I got a story. And it was just me trying to get it done within that week. It was important to me to get in there and because I like a challenge, and the fact that you choose the stories that you want in there
Yeah.
is, yeah, that was very important to me. So when I found out that you chose my story, I was very happy.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
very, very happy.
So
So as
you didn't
far as,
have time to workshop it
Okay.
much or share it for feedback, did you? Not much time for
no,
that.
I mean, no, I didn't do that because like I said, my story, okay, the title of my story is Rebirth. And it is the story of how I came out of alcoholism. So that was
Okay.
it was very easy for me to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wanted to, I very much wanted to share it, what happened, because I called it, I titled it Rebirth because about a week before, really Easter 1994, when I went into a grocery store, really hungover, and just watching all the people in their nice dresses coming from church, and the kids, with their parents. It took me back to my childhood because that was the way I was raised. And I did not, but I saw it and I felt really bad. And then a week later, it was when I decided to go into treatment.
Good for you.
That's such an
But
example of how a
Yeah.
small moment can change an
Yeah.
entire life.
change your life. Just that
Yeah.
trip to the grocery store did that for me.
Mhm.
So in my story, I talk about that, and I also just go because after I did uh, get sober, I wanted to know what my purpose in life was. That was very important to me.
Mm.
And
Okay.
Um,
so and so I found it, I be and it is writing and encouraging other people to write their stories.
well, you're in the
Well,
right place, Kathleen.
we're so
Yeah.
glad to have you in our community.
Sarah,
I
Mhm.
think we
I know we're watching time, but I
yeah.
please, because Barbara Smith sent me a text message, somehow this is timely. I feel that she has a different take on all of these. She's also an author in it. She has written a story called Grace, but she's kind of expanded the vision and the version because she's reached out to some of the principals who are in her story. So, Barbara, I'd really appreciate if you just take a minute and share with others what you shared with me and maybe something from the letter.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me close the door. Privacy.
Barbara is also in San Diego, and you already know that
Mm.
she's Amanda's teacher.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I just have a lot of gratitude right now. The stories are just very inspiring. The whole process has been very inspiring for me. I took the class with Cheryl several years ago, and I am one who I have a background in journalism, telling other people's stories. So opening up and writing about a story for me, something that I had rarely talked about was, it was quite a big step. The encouragement that I got from the group, Cheryl and the members were amazing. So, yeah, just, uh, I wrote about an incident where, I call it grace, but it was an incident where I experienced a gunshot wound. And I had three doctors who, in different ways, saved my life. And I didn't know if I should include their names in the story, but they were so important that I wrote a little bit about each of the doctors, um, and the process of recovery that I had. And each Thanksgiving, I write to each of my three doctors. And this
And you
incident
might say
happened
how long ago this happened, Barbara.
in 1996, so it was
Okay.
29 years ago.
Okay.
If it hadn't been for GAB, honestly, I don't think I would have written about the story. I don't think I would have had the courage the hardest part was for me to actually tell the story and put it out in a book,
Yeah.
for people to read. But it's just, something that I've learned. It's a growth for me. So, my process, I love teaching the GAB classes, but I feel like I'm a student over and over and over. I love the stories that we share. And I have shared this story in some of my classes. I just feel like maybe it's important. Sometimes questions come to me because people share so much of their lives. So I did share a little bit about I actually did. I read the story to some of my classes. But today I received a letter from one of my three doctors. And I've been writing, every Thanksgiving, just saying, thank you for saving my life. And this is what's going on in my life. Gratitude. It's just been an important process for me. And every once in a while, I get a little note back. But today, I don't know if you can see it, Dr. Deng,
Yeah.
who was a surgeon at Pomona Valley Hospital. I came in, I was very fortunate that he was a gunshot expert. He had been a combat surgeon in Vietnam, and he knew exactly what to do to save my life. And so he wrote this beautiful letter. He just said, I won't read the whole thing, but thank you so much for your letters every Thanksgiving, and especially for including me in your book. Being a part of your care, I'm still emotional, was an honor. Your strength, perseverance, and will to keep going is truly an inspiration. It makes me happy to know you're doing well. Seeing our patients thrive are the reason we do what we do. And he talked a little bit about his own life. He's 85 now. He said,
Wow.
patients like you remind me every day on why I became a surgeon. I wish you continued health, peace, and happiness. Your gratitude is something I will always carry with me. I look forward to more Thanksgiving letters. So,
Nice.
and a beautiful card. And this is my Dr. Deng. I don't know if you can see the picture, but
Oh
I
yeah.
tracked him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
He retired from Pomona Valley Hospital, which is where he treated me. And one of my Thanksgiving letters came back. And so I Googled him and found that he was working in a clinic 1 mile from where my father lived in Huntington Beach. And I
Wow.
found him and thanked him in person, maybe 10 or so years after he had saved my life. So it's just an example. Thank you for, letting me tell a little bit about.
Oh, it's a ripple effect. I mean, how many
Yeah.
of us realize how these stories travel and reach somebody else and,
Yeah,
give him
Mhm.
the encouragement and the pat on the back for doing all the things that
yeah,
he's done. You're one of many. So,
yeah.
no,
So he received a copy of the book as well
that's
as
what I
my
mean.
two doctors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
Thank
wonderful.
you for sharing all that.
Wow.
Um, so we have about a half hour left in this chat, and I'm going to turn it over to Heather to use
Okay.
the time as you will. I know
I'm
we like to
going,
have some
well,
social time.
yeah, but I think it would be nice if we could ask, I have these questions to ask you, Sarah, and it would help us understand a little bit more about the process. Can you just start by reminding us how many submissions you had this time?
We put the submission cap at 100 in
Oh, wow.
publicizing it. And then also we accepted 25 in the Spanish category. It was a separate project you logged into to submit the Spanish ones. But on the day of the deadline, we had 4 people who were trying to submit before midnight, but we had reached the 100 cap and we let those last 4 in. So we had
Wow.
104 total submissions.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit more about the selection process?
Um, So we have a review committee that has probably about a dozen, maybe not quite that many, 8 or 10 active volunteers who read all of them. We use the submittable interface, which gives you a panel for leaving notes to each other and a ranking score, thumbs up, thumbs down. And you can emphasize that essentially to get a ranking on each of the essays. But it isn't just which are the essays that got the highest scores. It's also, do they fit together in some kind of whole? What themes do we see emerging? Um, you wouldn't want every single story to be a cancer survivor, or you wouldn't want every single story to be a, you know, divorce and survival. So making sure that we have a broad range of human experience represented. That's so there's a quantitative and a qualitative side to it.
Wow. Can you describe the editing? How did you work with the writers to refine their essays?
In some cases, there was a fair amount of back and forth. And Sandra Dexter is in the room, and I want to really give a shout out to her.
Yeah.
She volunteered to be an editor for. So we sort of triaged. Some of these need just a little help. Some of these, the emotion, the story is so powerful, but maybe the writing needs help to be of a quality for the book. And Sandra agreed to take on some of the ones that were more needy in an editing sense of the word. And she did a great job. But in each case, we're corresponding with the author, sometimes making suggestions for edits and revisions, sometimes suggesting a change and they accept or reject that. But we always give them the opportunity to do a revision of their own or choose to have our editor do a revision pass on it. And some choose one, some choose the other.
What surprised you the most as the submissions came in? Were there themes or craft choices that emerged organically across the anthology?
This was, I think I've been in on the reviewing 3 times now. This is the first time I've led the project. I think we were all surprised that it was slow to come in, and some of the submissions we got in the early period were pretty weak, and we were kind of looking at each other on the review team and going, "Uh-oh, was second chances not a good prompt? Did we need to make it more clear what we're looking for?"
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then they began, as we got closer to the deadline, they got better and better. So what you could tell was that people were workshopping.
Ah,
Rather than rush to get their essays in, they were working with their writing group or their teacher or someone, or just in their own individual process. But they began to really be strong submissions towards the end. Started rolling in.
interesting. What distinguishes an essay that belongs in a guided autobiography anthology from a strong personal essay in general?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because in our GAB classes, we really don't focus on literary quality. We aren't critiquing each other on craft. It's on the meaning that they draw from their story and what message that has for other people. We always say we're looking for stories that inspire, inform, or entertain. So that shine a light into a corner of life that you might not otherwise be aware of.
Yeah.
Or sometimes just a good entertaining story. Like I think Tony's is an example of an entertaining story,
Uh-huh.
close call with getting fired for a personal mistake. So there's a stage of bringing more writing craft to it that happens. I think that's what
Right.
makes for an anthology worthy essay. Because in our GAP classes, we're writing for ourselves, we're writing for the people that we have become very close to in the class that we're in, and there's that confidentiality and trust there. But when you're writing for the public, you've got to hold it up to a little higher standard of palatability.
Within your team, did you battle for submissions that you really wanted in or they wanted in? And was there
There was
strong?
some of that. I'm not remembering a lot of,
Hmm.
uh, but there was certainly.
You know,
Help me out here, Cheryl.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
on it.
I no, I think we did on some of them. Maybe I'm misremembering which one
No, I think you're
exactly, but
right.
some of them we did. In fact, I think we might give a shout out here. I know Camila was on the team. Who was part of that team?
Yeah, I'd love to see
You
who
know,
was on that team.
the Camila, myself. Who else here? Well,
Sandra.
Sandra.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else here that was part of that team that can speak up? Maybe not. Maybe not. So anyway, we can just say we want to,
You
Camila.
got you
There
got
were
all got
times.
along
Well,
harmoniously.
No, there were times, we'd be fighting for one of ours that, well, if they just did this or if they just did that or this should fit in this group. No, we would get into that a bit, but it always worked out.
Yeah.
yeah,
For
I
those
have
of
the
us,
list of names here. So besides myself, there was Rosalind O'Connell, John
Yep.
Countryman, Cheryl Svensson, Peggy Rosin, Alice Rosello from the Philippines, and Marjorie Holman Turner, who is not a member of the GAB community, but a published author and friend of mine from the personal historians world. I
And then
pulled her in.
The Spanish group was a
Yeah.
that was a separate group.
oh,
There were what, 4 or 5 of you, Camila? How
Yeah,
many
that
were
was
there? We were from
Kamala.
Argentina and from all over.
and
Yeah,
so
Alicia Barizanik and Liliana Weisbeck were the
are
Spanish team.
The Spanish ones have an English translation, so it's in there
That
twice.
only
They
came, well, let me explain that. So we accepted 25 submissions. The Spanish team selected, I think, was it 5 or 10,
5,
Camila? Five,
5.
that they thought were the strongest, and then they translated those so that we English reviewers could read
Oh.
them and understand them. And then when they were selected for inclusion, they went through more translation editing to smooth out the first
But
first
they're
pass.
in the book in Spanish as well,
And
correct?
English, yeah,
5 of
both.
them
Okay,
are.
right.
Yeah.
So for those of us thinking ahead to the next one, what makes tell us the secret, what makes an essay rise to the top of the pile?
Mm.
For me, it often means zeroing in on a small moment. Often in our GAB writing, we might cover a fairly long period of time because it's more thematic writing than storytelling. But when you're writing for the anthology, it should lean into storytelling.
Okay.
So finding a moment and really
Mhm.
highlighting it, and then the impact that moment had, what radiated out from there.
Are there any common pitfalls you can share that we can avoid?
Don't be too vague.
Yeah.
Full of
Watch
cliches.
watch out for cliches and watch out
Yeah.
for flabby writing. Yeah.
So what revision strategies would you recommend once someone has their first draft and they want to take it from good to ready for publication?
To me, it would be taking it to your writing group. If I like what Janet said about having a group who came out of a workshop and continued to meet with each other. I think it's just invaluable to have your writing pals that you can workshop a piece with.
Yeah, I was really struck with that when she said that. So
Mhm.
can you tell us why the anthology is so important to the Beer Center? And how many have we done? Can you
Four.
This
Okay.
was the fourth, right?
Okay, great.
And the first two have been re-released in large print versions so they're available in both and also in Kindle, I think.
Nice.
But anyway, why is it important to the Beer Center? Well, it's a teaching tool that our instructors can use, and it's a motivational opportunity for our students. Anyone who's ever been a student in a GAB class is eligible to enter the anthology. So we really love it when our instructors publicize that opportunity, maybe use the theme in their teaching so that they have people writing and workshopping with each other on the theme.
Wow.
And we're in the process of choosing the themes for next year. And if you want, I will read them off. We won't ask you
Yes,
to
please.
vote or anything like that, but just give you an idea where this year's team is going with these. We have 4 options that are leading the way here. The first is moments that shape us. Write about a brief moment that changed you, a turning point, realization, or incident that revealed something essential about who you are. Choose a small scene with a big echo. Option B, lost and found, what we let go and what we recovered. Tell a story about losing something meaningful or finding it again. What shifted when something slipped away or came back. Option C, never say never, when life surprised you. Recall a time when you were certain something would never happen, and it did. Focus on the unexpected twist, the change of heart, the door you didn't expect to open. And finally, option D, making peace with the past, courage, truth, and healing. Choose a moment when you faced a hard truth, broke a silence, or eased an old burden. How did stepping towards honesty or acceptance reshape the path ahead?
And would you say that within those four options, those are also the title? Did you have the title for Second Chances when
The title emerged pretty soon, and each of those things I just read sounds like a title. But
yeah.
I'll tell you something. My father was a professional journalist, and he told me never write the headline until you write the story.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I say we don't choose the title for the book until the
Okay.
contents have come together.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you tell us how an instructor would use the anthology in their class?
Well, I've people have told me that they've read stories, so as to sort of give a model to the students of what uh, what kind of stories we're writing in these workshops.
Yeah.
It is really helpful for new authors, certainly people taking GAB for the first time, to have some sense of what it is that we're expecting of them, and either giving them the book, lending the book. Instructors can certainly do a lending library kind of thing, or simply picking a story and reading it in class and then asking your students to write on that same or a similar theme. Those would be
Mhm.
ways. I mean, if there's anybody in the room who's an instructor who's used it, I'd love to hear how you found to use it in your workshop.
Well, I have an idea because I'm sitting here looking at Sherry Coleman and remembering that she used a one of the GAB instructors who had taken the training when she went out to promote and publicize the class for a new venue for actually it was here where I am in Laguna Woods, and he came in and read one of his stories or part of it at least, right, Sherry? So it's the same thing. If you're going to take this, if you're going to go to a senior center, a community center, wherever you're going to go, one of the hardest things for GAB instructors is to get that group going. So take the book with you. Say, look, here's what GAB instructors can do. Here are the type of stories that are written. Because this now isn't just about the GAB instructors, it's about all of the students. And I wanted to jump in when you said, why is it important to the Beeren Center? Look
Mhm.
how much we've spread the word with the
mhm,
people that are not GAB instructors. You know,
mhm,
Sylvia and Amanda and Constanza, people who just, are the students that are coming into this fold. So I see it as a great way to do what Jim Beeren always wanted us to do, is spread the word. This is what we're doing. We're going out. We're sharing our stories. We're showing that you can do it too. And so I see it as a great way to publicize what you all do so well.
Yeah.
You don't even know it. It's just, it's because you're all such brilliant
Yeah.
writers. And I always say I've never heard a bad story. I really haven't, because I think the one key, even going into the next anthology, is to write that story from the heart, just like you've all
Yeah.
done. All of
Yeah.
these are very personal. Amanda wouldn't have thought about writing about, the grief she was going through after losing her husband, when he was 46 years old, if it hadn't have been for a class. So I mean, it's
Mhm.
just having the courage to do that. So,
Yeah. I think what Sylvia said about write like you're having open heart surgery.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
beautiful.
how about running a workshop for our writers, Sylvia, when we, how to
mhm.
write
Yeah.
a
Oh,
anthology story?
can't seem to teach and write, but maybe this is an opportunity for me to say how this experience has changed my attitude toward writing. Because I
Ah,
did I did a few little uh what do you call them, in our local papers.
yeah.
I had done feature stories and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And one day I was lighting the fire in my fireplace, and I crumpled up the newspaper and put it, used it for
Yeah.
kindling. And I thought, after all that work, this is what happens to my story.
And
And
burn it up.
it really
What an
put me
image.
off.
What a moment.
And
Wow.
but I have it right in front of me, and so I've really never wanted to publish. I just wanted to write, and this was an opportunity, and I'm thrilled to can say that I was published.
Now you're a
But
Yes,
published
yes.
yeah,
author.
You are
Yeah.
published.
but more
Yeah.
important, I like what's on the back of the book that says, um, autobiography. Let's see. This anthology is part of the Barron Center's mission to celebrate the transformative power of life stories
Yeah,
to connect generations, bridge differences, and build community.
that's our
And I thought
mission.
if I had heard that 40 years ago, I might have had a different life. But
Wow.
I really want to stress that's what I really got out of this. And I did want to say too, again, I can't say enough for the instructor I had, who is Heidi Thorson. Um, um, uh, and that we did go on from, we weren't all in the same class, but I'm still part of a group of four who are from different classes. So it lasts on. It
Yeah.
was good. And actually, the story I submitted was after the classes, which also I think is a good sign because I've gone on writing after the.
Yeah, that's always a really good indicator.
Yeah.
Um, there's a comment here that Tony put in the chat. Barbara mentioned something really intriguing. Should I use real names? That would make for a super helpful class. That's a good point, and I'm sure that. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No,
I just was going to say one thing to Sylvia before we leave this because Sylvia she gets the gold star. She was the first one in the Zoom meeting today. And so, but it was
That's
unexpected.
important.
She didn't want to be, but she just happened to log in like 15 minutes early. But I told her it was meant to be because the Beeren Center just received a donation from Sylvia Campbell. And I'm going, now who's Sylvia Campbell? I have no idea who that is. So I put the word out to the board. Who is this person? Anyway, so now Sylvia Campbell popped up. Now, if I had been looking at the book and looked up Sylvia Kalenko, I never would
well,
have
you wouldn't
found
have
you,
known.
Sylvia.
She's the elusive, yeah.
So anyway,
Well,
she's
I'd like
supporting.
to this has been just amazing. And thank you, Sarah, and your whole team for putting it together. I'd like to open it up for other
Yeah,
people if you want to unmute and ask share
question,
any
yeah.
comments or have any questions.
Yeah, thank you for letting us take over your GAB chat for our book
Yeah,
lunch party.
well, that's part of all of us.
This is I look forward to next year's.
Yeah. It's-
Anybody want to?
Oh, yeah, me too.
yeah.
That had to be Tony. Tony's
Oh,
already
yeah, that's
writing in his mind, I can tell.
Yeah, I already, yeah. I can see once you identify the theme, we have groups that want to keep going, and I would definitely make that
Yeah,
a prompt
It's
for
a
one of the
great way to
classes.
that's a
motivate a
good
group.
idea.
Yeah,
Good idea.
good
Yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody here have any questions, comments, thoughts about this?
I've
Right.
joined I've joined several chats with different organizations, and
Mhm.
uh, honestly, and I'm not just saying this has been the most helpful and instructive of all
Right,
the ones that I've been with.
great,
So I'd like to be more involved.
great. We're
Great.
always looking forward.
Awesome.
You
Great.
Well,
know,
that's a point. We're looking to build the volunteer team for next year. So we do, it starts with the review team. Well, actually, it starts with the theme team that's meeting now. Then it moves on to the review team, and then it moves on from then to the editing team. And not everybody plays on all three teams. People move in as suits their time and talents. But contact me.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
So
will
you're,
put my email in the chat if you have any interest in serving on any aspect of
I think
the
Margie has her
anthology.
hand up.
yeah,
I see
Margie does
Margie.
have her hand up. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Margie.
I'd like to volunteer, but also I have a nice little story.
Yeah.
I bought the book and was reading it, and one of the stories mentioned this woman who worked in an office at the University of Wisconsin Extension and ended up getting really inspired by three women in the office. And it turns out one of them was my mother.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh.
Now see what a ripple effect. We
Wow.
go from the
How
Vietnamese
about that?
doctor to your mother's. Oh my gosh.
And I know she would have loved it. Well, she's gone,
Who
but she
who
would have
Yeah.
lucky?
loved it because that was what the three of them really were doing there in women's education. So
My gosh, that's
it was
amazing.
really, I sent it to my sisters too, and they're all so excited.
Oh,
That
Oh,
how
wow.
wonderful. How wonderful.
you just never know what synchronicities are going to come about.
Sandra
so
has her
cool,
hand up.
Marcy.
Go ahead and unmute yourself,
Okay,
Sandra.
I'm gonna let the guy sitting beside me talk.
So we'd like to get more information about the article in Spanish and the promotion in Mexico around the book.
Yeah, we'll talk to Camila. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. As soon as I have it, I let Sarah know, and she will tell me how to contact you. Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Uh,
Sandra has her hand up. She just needs to unmute herself.
I I can send you the newspaper.
Okay.
Actually, I can even put it here on in the chat.
Chat. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Camila.
Okay.
Okay, Sandra?
Hi. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to, so one of the reasons I wanted to join the meeting today was to hear people tell their stories and what a difference that it makes to hear the person who wrote it read it. And you all did that so beautifully. I can't wait to get back into the book and read them again. And the other thing I wanted to say is that the book has made its way to Australia.
Ah.
My copy came yesterday. So
Oh, great.
Oh, cool.
Fantastic. It's going to be a different experience after going through the editing process, Sandra, that you did for the stories. Now you can sit down and enjoy them.
Absolutely. Although I did, even though I think there was 7 that I did the editing on, as soon as, well, when I was reading those, I just had to go in and read all of them. So
yeah, that's great.
Well, you might enjoy being on the review team this year. It's a very interesting process. But you were a great editor. I just want to say,
Yeah.
I
shout out.
What a professional. And each person who was edited by you had really positive things to say about the experience. This is something that there's another thing that surprised me about this. I mean, you sort of feel like you say something, your piece needs editing that like feels like criticism, right?
Yeah.
But everybody pretty much responded with joy, like, oh, really? I'm going to get edited by a real editor. So we're all eager to improve our writing, eager to improve our craft as well as the insights we
Yeah,
draw.
that's like a bonus. You get that, like a private session.
to be honest, they didn't need a lot of editing. I mean, a lot of them were just small things. It was just shifting something somewhere else, and it wasn't onerous work at all.
But see, that's
Yeah.
the vision. That's the vision you bring to it as an editor, Sandra. The rest of us, we get too, focused and we can't see it. So don't diminish your gifts. We are very appreciative.
Thank you.
I just need 2 minutes at the end to announce the GAB chat for January. I
Yes.
don't know where we are if we're ending this.
We're at 5 minutes, so now's the time.
Yeah, because the January chat's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be it's more like a town hall. It's going to be what's going on with the Beer and Center, where we're going, what we need help with, what we encourage you all to participate in, whether you're a GAB instructor or not. And that will be the third Wednesday,
So that's
as
the
always.
7th. This I'm looking at the wrong month. So that would be the 21st
21st, yeah.
Of
21st,
January.
yeah. And
it'd be a morning session.
Yeah, I say if we follow the schedule, it should be morning. We alternate times so that we now have 35 countries, almost 800 GAB instructors. And when we're talking about putting the Spanish ones in, I'm thinking, well, what about the one we have 2 in Turkey, we have, German, French, where are we going to end? I don't know what's next, Sarah. But anyway, the GAB chat, you'll get more information about that, but we are going to be looking into where are we going, and we need all of your input for that. The Beer and Center is built on all of you, and so if we're not giving you what you want or what you need, then we're failing. And so this is going to be an opportunity for all of you to step up and say, I'd like more of this and less of that, and etc.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll all show up.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. It was so lovely to hear the stories and to know who the other authors are, which does make it more compelling to buy the book now. So we have to find someone who'll transport it down to us here in Mexico. I wish you all a very merry whatever you celebrate.
Holiday.
And happy New Year. And we will see everyone in January. So thank you, Sarah, for all the work you did to make this happen. What a gift it is to our community.
Well, thank you for this victory lap.
Yeah,
Labor of love
really.
all the way. You are very welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.